Hey everybody, Jeremy here, and I've been an Aerogarden owner for many years, but the one thing that I've never attempted to grow in an Aerogarden are flowers. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do today. I want you to join me as I try for the very first time to grow flowers inside of my Aerogarden Harvest 360. So these are the flowers I'm going to attempt to grow. This is a packet of Zinnia flower seeds from American Seed, and I got these from $1.25 Tree. And I wanted to get these because it says that they're semi-dwarf on the packaging, which means that they are not going to be as tall as non-dwarf varieties, which I think works really well for the Aerogarden since we're going to be doing this indoors. The back of the packaging says that these plants mature to 18 to 24 inches with tall, sturdy stems, and also that they're going to produce 2 to 3 inch double flowers in shades of rose, red, white, yellow, orange, magenta, and soft pink. So that's a nice little variety there. So if you choose to use this particular type of seeds, once you open the package and spill out the contents, you'll see that there's a lot of little things in here, but not all of them are seeds. So you're going to want to pick out the ones that look distinctively like seeds, like this here. This is what you're going to want to put inside of your sponge in the Aerogarden. So you can just ignore all these other little crumbly bits right here. This isn't going to do you any good. So just kind of pour them out on a paper towel or a tray or something like that. Make sure that you identify the exact seed, and then you can put those inside of the Aerogarden. I had some spare growth sponges left over from another hydroponic system, so I'm going to be using these growth sponges to put those seeds in, and I'm going to put these inside of the Aerogarden baskets. So after only 3 days, we have sprouts in all 3 pods. I decided to only use 3 pods as opposed to the 6 because I'm not too sure how much space these plants are going to take up once they start to mature. I wanted to just play it safe. I put 3 seeds in each pod, and once they get large enough, I'm going to take 2 of them out of each pod so that at the very end, there's going to be 1 plant per pod. So now that I know that they have germinated, I am going to add my nutrition right now, and I'm going to add 8 milliliters of Aerogarden nutrients to the bowl. Little pro tip, get yourself one of these little syringes so that you'll know exactly how much nutrients you're putting inside of the tank, and also it helps to keep things nice and clean. We're now on day 6. Let's take a look at these plants. And wow, look at that. They have turned into sprouts. I'm going to thin this out to just 1 plant per pot. I don't know if that's completely necessary for these flowers, but that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to kill them. I'm actually going to transplant them into another Aerogarden that I have upstairs, and hopefully they will grow inside that Aerogarden. So let's thin these plants out. So now we're on day 14. I just fed the flowers, and this is how they're looking right now. So they're looking pretty good and pretty healthy as well. Nice size on them, and they're getting taller and taller and more spread out every single day. So this is what the progress has been like, and now I'm going to show you what the 3 transplants are looking like in the other Aerogarden. This is the 8th day progress on the transplants, and I just picked 3 of them when they were just tiny little sprouts and put them in this Aerogarden harvest, and they are just about as big as the main ones in the circular Aerogarden. So I'm going to keep an eye on these as well. I fed them once, and I'll feed them again in approximately 6 days. It's now day 25, and holy moly, look how big these plants have gotten. I had to raise up the light a little bit just to accommodate. And then if we can look right in the middle, looks like that is where our flower is going to start blooming from. And they all have that. It's a little bit harder to see on the one back here, but there it is. So hopefully pretty soon we'll start to see the very first flowers start to emerge from these 3 plants. It's day 20 on the transplant zinnias, and they are doing really good. In fact, doing a little bit better than the ones that are in the main unit, because as you can see, This one is going to produce a red or a pink flower. This one is the biggest bulb out of all 6 zinnias that's growing in my Aerogardens. And you can kind of see like the little bulbs starting to come in for that one on the back. And then all the way over here, it's starting to come in a little bit down there. But the one in front is definitely the dominant one of the group. So yeah, these things are growing like weeds. I'm really looking forward to seeing those flowers. It is now day 32, and boy, oh boy, this thing has grown like a weed. So these plants have gotten nice and tall, and check that out. Reaching towards the top of the light is our very first flower that's really trying to come into focus and start to bloom. I can tell just by looking at the top of it that this is going to be a red flower. We can't really see it from this angle though. And I have had to lift this light up because this thing is really trying to reach the top of that light. But we can also see some of the other places where flowers are going to come in. So there's one right there. There's another one right there. There's another one tucked in back there, and they're just starting to sprout up all over the place. But now, let's see how the transplants are doing upstairs. We're on day 25 for the transplants, and they too have gotten nice and big. But check that out. We have our very first flower, and it has opened up. Now it's a little bit dark. You see this one is kind of like a pinkish, whitish, purplish kind of a flower. And I have gotten this Aerogarden Harvest light as high as I can possibly get it because this started to grow up into the light and it was in danger of really being scorched. So I had to just sort of pull it out so that it would not be in the light. But it has outgrown the Aerogarden Harvest. And then we also have some other buds. They're starting to come in. There's one right there. There's another little one right there. There's a little bug right there. I'll take care of it later. And then like deep down in there, you can see, so like all the other little flowers are starting to try to come up here, but this is the very first bloom. And I wish the lighting were better, but yeah, it's a pretty flower. Day 40. And we have got some tremendous growth. I mean, look at this. Outside of the Aerogarden. I think it's really safe to say that if you want to grow this particular pack of seeds, then they will outgrow these Aerogarden Harvest models, the 360 and the more rectangular ones. But as you can see here, this flower is fully opened up. Very, very pretty petals, and it doesn't look like it's going to grow so tall that it scorches itself on the light. This was the first one that grew, and I've been trying to sort of train it to come out, but it looks like that left side is always going to be a bit smushed. But this one right here is not going to have that problem because it is growing straight up and away from that light. And then just kind of getting down into the plant, not really seeing any other flower buds that can grow out or that are currently on their way to becoming straight up flower petals and blossoms. But you know, we're definitely making some progress. And then the other one is doing even better. Day 33 for the upstairs zinnias, and they are drinking water like crazy. It's almost time to refill that water reservoir. But as you can see, the growth is a lot more down here for these flowers. So this, I believe, was the first one that bloomed, and I had to sort of force it away from the light. There's that one there. And then back here, you can see all those petals starting to come in, the little tiny ones that want to fill out. And then we got this one bud right here that's going to open up into something. And then this guy is really tall. And it's also coming up as well. So this one's doing better than the one downstairs for sure. But they're not doing bad. Neither of them are doing bad. And I haven't done anything special. Just been feeding them with 8 milliliters of Aerogarden ingredients every couple of weeks, and just make sure that water is filled. And I never change the water. And this is the progress of this. It's now day 47, and this is going to be my final update for these zinnias in the Aerogarden harvest. And look how tall these plants have gotten. It's absolutely amazing. And these are the transplants, and I think that these have done better overall as far as their growth. And you see these flowers have popped up all the way around, and many of them are in different phases. You can see like there's a few petals on there coming out almost everywhere. And depending on where we look, we see more or less petals. This one's got some growing on it right there. And it continues to get taller and taller. And these things love to drink water. I'm going to be filling up the water at least once every day and a half. But yeah, this is how these are doing. These are the transplants. And then we'll take a look at the ones down in the living room, and we'll wrap this up. Day 54 for the living room flowers. And here they are. Here's the tallest one right there. But the fullest flower, I believe this was the first one that bloomed. Let's see if I move that out the way. You see that? You can kind of see it. It's pretty dark. But look at all of the petals on this one. It's really bunched up. I wish that all of them looked like that, but they'll get there eventually. But yeah, this has been a nice little experiment, and look at how these dollar store zinnia flower seeds have turned out in 2 different models of the Aerogarden harvest. All right, so that's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and perhaps you can use this to start some zinnias for yourself, and perhaps once they grow, transplant them into some soil, give them a little bit more room to grow, maybe even put them outside. So thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Jeremy, and I'll talk to you later.